สำหรับหัวข้อถัดไปค่ะเดี๋ยวขออนุญาตอย่างที่ทุกท่านทราบเป็นอย่างดีเรามีทั้งหมด 11 อุตสาหกรรมนะคะสำหรับซอฟต์พาวเวอร์ไทยขออนุญาตเริ่มที่อุตสาหกรรมท่องเที่ยวก่อนเพราะว่าอุตสาหกรรมท่องเที่ยวนั้นเป็นอุตสาหกรรมหลักของเมืองไทยของเราสำหรับหัวข้อถัดไปท่านใดอยากฟังเป็นภาษาไทยใส่หูฟังเลยนะคะเพราะว่าสปีกเกอร์หลังจากนี้เป็นต่างชาติแล้วนะคะกดไปที่ช่องหมายเลข0ค่ะนะคะถ้าเป็นภาษาไทยนะคะกดไปที่ช่องหมายเลข0ได้เลยนะคะ Up next we are going to have the prominent speaker from around the world over here with us so if you like to listen to Korean please choose channel 2 for Korean. Thank you. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, this is the evolving hospitality industry, how developers and government authorities respond to the demographic changes, integrating entertainment and innovation to create new destination by Mr. Martin Boudreau, President and CEO of 44 Production. A big round of applause, please.
First of all, before starting, I would like to say a big thank you to the Soft Power Committee for the invitation. I am truly humble and honored to be part today of such an important event for the future of Thailand here in Bangkok. So, what I would like to share with you today is a little bit of my expertise and my vision on how I think that culture and entertainment, when they are combined together, they can create wonder, but also they can generate values for guests, operators, developers, but also nations around the world. I have been working in the industry of entertainment for the last 25 years, and I've been privileged to work with some of the biggest brands in the industry, such as Cirque du Soleil, and Disney, and also Balich from Italy. And over those years, most importantly, I've been the witness of the changes and the evolution of the role of entertainment to support the tourism industry. The video that you just saw are examples of a few projects that I was involved with, and all of them were specifically designed to help transforming places into destinations. Over the course of my career, I had the privilege to visit many places around the world, to travel and to visit destinations, including Thailand on several occasions. And I can say now with confidence that truly Thailand has so much to offer. When you think about the hospitality of the people, the incredible heritage of the culture and also the food culture, the uniqueness, beauty of its landscape and nature, when you put all that together, Thailand has unlimited potential. And this is why I'm super excited to see the outcome of the work that will be done by the Soft Power Committee. So, what I would like to review quickly with you today is a few things. First, have a very quick look at the demographics that driving the shift in luxury hospitality, a few key travel and hospitality trends, inspiring projects and initiatives, and finally, some key elements to keep in mind when you work on developing destinations and entertainment projects. So, before starting, just a quick disclaimer. I'm not an expert in hospitality, but I think it's important that we take some time to review a few trends and a few demographics related to the industry. And there's two reasons for that. The first one is that they will serve as guidelines as we discuss who and what to keep in mind when developing cultural entertainment destination. Second, just like design thinking was revolutionary in developing new product and new services, the same thing is happening with entertainment thinking. It's becoming fundamental in the development of hospitality projects. Over the last 20 years, it's incredible how our role as entertainment has evolved. 20 years ago, when I would receive a call from a developer, most of the time, it was to work on developing a very specific project, let's say a show in a theater, in a bigger project. And the goal of my involvement was to generate footfall for other amenities or other locations inside the project. For example, casinos or gamble tables. That was the goal of having entertainment in those projects. Today, 20 years later, the same operators, the same developers are calling me, but now they're asking me to have a look with them at their entire master plan. They want us to add a layer of entertainment on top of their entire projects. And the reason why is because they realize the power of the emotion, the power of the engagement that can be created when you play with emotion, when you play with entertainment. You're able to increase the level of engagement and, of course, the value for all the stakeholders involved. So, quickly, some demographic driving the shift in luxury hospitality. Let's start with the Gen Z and the millennials. We all know them. We all know they're important. And the reason why, a few reasons why, is, of course, they have money. They have a lot of money to spend. In many places around the world, getting access to a first house, first property is becoming extremely difficult. And a lot of them decided that they don't need to put aside money. They rather spend that money traveling and living experiences. Second, a lot of them don't have kids and don't even thinking or planning of having kids in the near future. They are constantly exposed to dreamy Instagram posts and make travel a priority in their life. So when you're able to offer them unique experiences, they are absolutely not shy to spend the money to go and travel and experiment those things. Finally, as of now, they represent about 35% of the spend in the luxury travel business, and it's only expected to grow much more in the next few years. Older parents of younger children. This is another trend. In many places around the world, parents are waiting a little bit later to have children. What does it mean? It means that when they have children, they're much more secure financially. And it means that in luxury resort, you'll see more and more of those older parents with young children. So it's super important to have that in mind when you build the programmation of activities in those resorts. Multi-generational vacation. This is not a new trend. It's been around for a while, but it's becoming more and more important, and it will keep growing in the next few years. Now, a few key trends in the travel and hospitality industry. Authentic cultural discovery. Here, the word authentic is super important. When you play with culture, it's super delicate and super sensitive, but when you're able to deliver an authentic experience related to culture, this is where you get the highest satisfaction level that you can get. And you get rewarded for being able to carefully represent the authenticity of culture. The other thing that is getting super important is the food element in the decision-making of travelers. More specifically here in Asia, when you read the studies, they're all saying the same thing, is that food is becoming one of the main factors that will help people to decide where they're going to go next on vacation. Health and wellness, again, this is not a new trend. It's been around for a while, but it's still very important. And the developers and operators are getting even more creative, coming with new proposals, new activities, and it's surprising how people react. It's very positive, very well received, and people are always eager to discover and experiment new things. Learnings, everything related to workshop, personal retreat, personal growth, development, learning new things. It's a big trend, and it's super well received as well by the travelers. Going informal and redefining the codes of luxury. What we're trying to do here is to blur the lines between the guest and the staff. And the reason we're trying to do that is because we know that by doing that, when it's well done, we're creating more opportunity to exchange, more opportunities to connect, and we're creating discovery. And this is where, again, when it's well done, the guests are super satisfied. This is the last one I have. It's not the best one, but over-tourism is a problem in many locations in the world, whether it's in Maya Beach, Mount Everest, Mount Fuji, Venice. There's no easy solution to this, but as developers, as creative people involved into the industry, I think we just need to make sure we have that in mind when we develop those destinations, because I believe we have a responsibility to play in this, and it's our responsibility to be sensitive to that. Now, let's go over some examples of projects that I had the chance to be involved with that help transform places into destinations. So the range of initiatives that can be taken to activate a destination is quite broad. So it goes from the resort level all the way to the global level. We'll see. I'll show you a few examples at different levels. So at the resort design level, resort amenities and programming, seasonal shows and festival, permanent shows, micro-entertainment destination, and finally, global production-based marketing. So let's start with the first one. I talked to you about multi-generational vacation. This is a suite that is relatively new in one of my client resorts in Mexico. Those suites are super big, super large, with 3 or 4 bedrooms, big kitchen, and it's super well appreciated by the guests. And the reason why is because it gives them the opportunity to spend more time together as a family in a private environment, and again, to exchange and to spend quality time together. On the resort and amenity and programming, this is something that is also becoming extremely popular. It's the opportunity of having an in-room dining that you prepare with the executive chef, and you spend, it's not only a dinner activity, but it's a full day activity where you go to the market in the afternoon with the chef, you spend the time to elaborate the menu with them, you go to the port to select the fish, and at night you all meet up in the room, you prepare the meal together, and you enjoy the meal as a family with the chef in the room. This is replacing a little bit, for those of you who have been in luxury resort or beach destination resort, you all have seen that offer that used to be extremely popular when you could have a couple dinner on the beach by yourself. But now many of those resorts are replacing that picture or that offer by the family dinner inside the guest room. And when we do surveys at the end of their week, this is one of the activities that score the highest. Again, because of all those opportunities of connection and emotional connections. At the seasonal and show and festival level, this is an example from Cirque du Soleil that I was involved with. This is in the Principality of Andorra. So Andorra is extremely popular during winter time, but during summer, it's very slow. And the authorities of Andorra wanted to find a way to attract people during summer. So they came to see us at Cirque du Soleil, and they said, we cannot support a traditional touring show of Cirque du Soleil because it has to be there for several months. But could we think of developing something together that would be short-term and would attract tourism? This started, basically what we did is we created a show that is 60 minutes long, and we bring it to Andorra every year for 4 weeks. And it's been there we've been doing that since 2013, almost 10 years, and it's been very well received. And it's generating over $25 million of revenues, economic positive revenues for for Andorra every year. Hoya. This is another example that I led. It's a project that I developed and led in Mexico. It's a permanent show. It's a dinner show, cabaret type of show. It's a very successful project. It all started with a developer who came to see me and said, you know, I have a big resort in Mexico, beach destination resort. I would like to have an anchor show like Cirque du Soleil has in Las Vegas. And he started the discussion by saying, I would like to have something similar to, which is a masterpiece from Cirque du Soleil, investment of about $200 million, a theater of 2,000 seats, 500 shows every year, selling 1 million tickets every year. So I told him, I said, listen, I appreciate your vision, but I'm not sure that this is what you need for your destination. The reality, Las Vegas is a unique market in the world with 40 million visitors every year, a high spending power, and over 150,000 rooms in the destination. So I said, I think there's an opportunity to do something, but you know, Cancun is a world-renowned beach destination, 12 million visitors a year, very rich Mexican culture, food culture, just like Thailand. And the partner was clearly very motivated and has a lot of expertise. So I said, why don't we work together? Let's think of something new. Let's define together something for your destination, as opposed to copy something or try to implement something that works in a different type of destination. So I said to him, I said, we're not going to do a small show. We're going to do something intimate, something more engaging. It's not just going to be a show. It's going to be an experience. We're going to try to extend the experience outside the show. And we're going to do that in partnership. I'm not going to go just work on the show and you'll build a theater. We're going to do everything together and share our expertise. And more importantly, we're going to put the culture of Mexico on stage, but without building another cultural show. We don't want to compete with cultural show, but we're going to inspire, the creative team will be inspired by the Mexican culture, and we're going to integrate the food element, which is so important in Mexico, inside the show as well. And we're going to present that in a very modern and very authentic way. The result was amazing. That show has been performing extremely well for the last 10 years, and so well that the developer is building a second one in another one of his resorts in Mexico. So how did we do that? A few examples. First of all, the design is super important. It's a fully integrated design with a strong sense of arrival. As I said earlier, intimate theater, very close to the action. You feel engaged. I didn't want a show where people are sitting there for 2 hours looking at the stage. I wanted them to feel that they were part of the action, part of what's happening on stage. Families, it's a family destination. So it was important that we would find ways to create moments between family members. And finally, culture, sophistication, and creativity throughout the entire process and throughout the entire experience. And this is how, at the end, this became a big success. Micro-entertainment destination. The Disney Castle is another very interesting project that I was involved with. That opened last November in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia. So when you look at that picture, most of the people think that this is in one of the Disney parks around the world, you know, Shanghai, Orlando, Paris, but it's not. This is in Saudi Arabia, and that was last November. This is basically, we created a mini musical festival using the power of the brand and the power of the IPs of Disney, with a strong icon in the middle, which is the castle of Disney, and using some of their iconic brands like Lion King, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Frozen, to create different immersive experiences surrounding the castle. It was the first time that Disney accepted that someone used the castle outside of one of their parks. And the reason they said yes is because when they saw the overall concept, they saw the potential of really engaging the people and really being able to provide emotion and making them feel like they're part of the world of Disney without being in one of their theme parks. So they said, why don't we use this to go into market where we know that Disney will never be present with a big theme park. And this is exactly how we did it in Saudi Arabia. And these things that you're seeing there was designed and built to tour. So the intent is that this will travel the world in the next few years, visiting markets to bring a Disney experience to places where, unfortunately, the market doesn't allow to build a full-on theme park. So building a to build a micro entertainment destination, there's a few things to keep in mind. It's super important to strike the right balance between the different elements to maximize the value for all the stakeholders. So what you need first is a very strong anchor, then a critical mass of other entertainment options, so all those different things that were surrounding the castle, then a cohesive integration of all of that, and finally, all this fitting in a small footprint. The last example I want to share with you is a global production-based marketing. I told you the story of Mexico, how we built an incredible cabaret dinner show, very successful, integrating the culture, the food element in a very authentic way in Mexico and respectful way. So following the success of that little cabaret show in the middle of the jungle in Cancun, the tourism board of Mexico came to see that show. And when they saw the show, they fell in love with the show, and they called me, and they said, wow, we saw the show you did in Cancun. It's incredible. Congratulations. But we want to talk to you. We want to meet with you because we want to share an idea with you. And I said, of course, we'll meet. And when I met with them, the first thing they told me, they said, you know, we have a big problem because in Mexico, our #1 industry is tourism. But everywhere in the world, when you open the newspaper or the news, and there's something about Mexico, it's always about drug, corruption, and criminality. So the perception of Mexico is bad around the world, and we need to change that. Otherwise, we're going to lose our primary industry, tourism. So, Cirque du Soleil, we'd like, you know, you're touring shows around the world in more than 400 cities. You've done an incredible job understanding our culture and building something modern and fresh. Could we pay you to develop a show that will be showing the beauty of Mexico, to travel the world, to promote the country in a very nice and different way? And we said absolutely. And the result was Lucia. And honestly, this is one of the best shows of Cirque du Soleil. If ever you are somewhere and you see that Lucia is performing, please do me a favor, go see the show. And I'm sure you will absolutely love it. So, this is the show. This is the touring Big Top. That show has been touring the world for the last 7 years. It toured in more than 30, it was presented in more than 30 cities. More than 4 million people have seen that show around the world. Now it's in Australia. It's playing in Australia. It's going to come to Southeast Asia after. We've done about 3,000 representation of the show so far, and it's going to tour for at least another 5 years around the world. But what's the most interesting thing about that is when we ask people, when they leave the show, when we do surveys, and 50% of them are saying that the show gave them the desire to visit Mexico in the next 2 years. So it proved that with playing with emotion, playing with the code of entertainment, by putting on stage something very creative, using culture, a very strong culture from Mexico, it works, and people are loving it. Finally, just to recap a few elements to keep in mind when we do those things. There's 4 things that for me are super important, and I call them my 4 T's. So quickly, the first one, very easy, together. In all the examples I showed you, a lot of the success of those things are by being able to provide time together with different people, people that you love, spending more time together, enjoying incredible experiences. Tailored. The time of one size fits all in the tourism industry is over. We need to understand that each people is different. We all have different tastes. We all want to live different things. And we need to make sure that they can adapt. We can adapt to their needs. Otherwise, it's not working anymore. Taking part of. Again, it's all about creating those connections and creating moments of connections between different people. And we need to make them feel that they play a role in the decision making. They play a role in the planification of the activities. And this is super important in order to reach the level of satisfaction that we're looking for. And finally, when you do all those things well, this is where you get transformative experience. This is where people come back from vacation saying, wow, I'm transformed. And when you reach that, you know you've done your job well. You know that this is how you create the most value for the guest, the operator, the developer, and even, like in the case of Mexico, a nation. So thank you. ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
This is what I wanted to share.